Howdy everyone, Clint Rawls here with Delta Valves and Controls, here today with the CVS HP 3000 hand pump. I wanted to do a video on the disassembly and reassembly. A lot of guys rebuild these in the field, have trouble. Just wanted to show you guys, we have the repair kits, come with everything you need. I've already got a pump head assembly removed from the tank. Some of the tools you'll need, you've got 4 1/4-inch Allen bolts that bolt this flange down to that tank. Then you're going to need a 3/16 Allen wrench, O-ring removal tool, slight offset pick, and that should just about do it, and maybe a good vise. So let's get started. First thing I always do is go ahead and pull the plunger out. And this is for the HP 3000 PSI model, not the 1000, not the 10,000. Easy way you can tell this video is right for you is if it's got the brass adjustable knob right here. If it does not, probably skip this video. It's not going to be exactly the same. Anyhow, once you've got that removed, there's a couple of O-rings, of course, that seal down here in the shaft. They're kind of hard to see, but there's 2 of them, one on top and then one just about a 1/4 of an inch lower. You need to get your O-ring removal tool and pop those out. So anyhow, see, I popped the first one out. You got to kind of reach down in there a little ways, pop the second one out. I might have to get a different tool for that. So just because it's a little deeper down in there, I hate using a pick on an O-ring, but it's getting replaced anyways, so it'll be all right. Just try not to jab too many of the metal surfaces. All right, we got both O-rings out. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this to the side. We're gonna have to take this bottom end off. Now, when doing this, you don't want to crank down on the vise on this tube because it will crush that tube, hence not letting your shaft, slide up and down very easy. So you don't want to grab it hard, you just want to grab it a little bit. These suckers here are on there tight. I'm just joking, I already loosened that up before the video. Yeah. Okay, so take that loose. This assembly is what you call the foot valve. So basically the way it works, it just draws fluid up from the tank, and then whenever you push that plunger down to pressurize, it just pushes down and stops the pressure from going back into the tank. That's another tool you should have, is a pair of needle nose. I'm gonna grab them real quick. So, all right, got the cotter pin out. Now, foot valve assembly has come out. It's got a little O-ring on there, that's it. We're just gonna go ahead and set this down on the table. All right, you got that? Now, this is the part where I drop little ball bearings. You're going to want to unscrew the pressure adjustment dial. You can see what that is. Now, inside of here, it's going to be hard to see, but there's a spring plate on top, and there's a little ball bearing. So you're going to dump all that out, and then underneath it is a spring. And now below that is the spring seat, and then there's a check ball. That check ball does seat all the way down in the bottom of there. So the kit does come with the new check ball. Okay. Last thing to disassemble on here is, ooh, kind of hard to do with the camera. So down inside here is the check valve. So whenever you pump pressure out that hose, this is what keeps it from coming back into the tank. It is very tight whenever you go to take it out. So I do not suggest starting off with the ball end of an Allen wrench. If it's one of the swivel ones like this, don't use a metric. Use a 3/16 Allen wrench or you will strip this out. Anyhow, you go ahead and unscrew this. It's an 1/8 inch MPT pipe plug. Now what you got in here is a spring that's kind of force fitted onto a plunger. So a lot of times you either got to soak them in WD-40 or some type of liquid penetrant if it's all rusty, but use your pick and get that out. You see there, it's just a spring with a plunger and an O-ring. So it's got a seating surface down inside there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and clamp this back into vise. Okay, now our repair kit. Comes with a new base gasket. I'll just show you in here. So now you've got new check ball, new ball bearing, you got the O-rings, you got the check valves plunger O-ring. You got everything you need. You even got the new big adjustable pressure spring. So we're going to replace these one at a time. All right, I like starting off with the check valve plunger, and then you've got the smallest O-ring in the kit. You just slide it right over the tip, pop it in the groove, done. Next, you've got the spring. So anyhow, the spring basically just needs to go together like that. Sits on top of it. We can go ahead and put this bad boy back in. Now, when you go to put this back in, that is a pressure sealing pipe plug. So you do have to use pipe dope on it or Teflon tape. It's kind of a small pipe plug. You just drop it in reverse order, the O-ring side down, spring on top of it. And like I said, pipe dope, remember how hard it was to take it out? That's how hard you need to put it back in. It's got to be in a vise. You got to crank that sucker so it seals good. So next, we will go ahead and put our plunger O-ring seals. So these O-ring seals can be kind of tricky. Let me see if I can get a good position here on this camera. But you definitely have to fold it, get it all the way down in that lower groove. Well, I guess we'll start with the upper groove. That one's super simple. The next one down low is very difficult, especially when I'm trying to do it on camera. Right now it's just sitting in the port. I'm gonna go ahead and use the O-ring tool, not the pick. I'm gonna get it started in the groove if I can. There we go. All right, it was a little bit of a trick, but not bad. If I had some grease in there, it might stick a little better. But anyhow, let's move on. So next, so you got to remember, whenever we took the big brass pressure adjustment dial out, the large check ball that just fell on the floor goes in the bottom. That is a check ball. That is not a ball bearing. So it drops directly in the bottom. You can see the seat down in there. And then you see this brass piece here. This is the spring seat. It drops in with the notch side facing up so that the spring can sit on it. And this one just flipped right over upside down. And there goes the check ball again. Okay. Let's try this again. It flipped over again. One more time. I'm gonna put it upside down. I bet it'll flip the right way. Nope. All right. Okay, got it. All right, now you're gonna put the spring right down on top of the spring seat. Make sure it sits on the spring seat correctly. Now you're going to get the spring button adjustment. I would highly advise putting grease on top of the spring button adjustment. This one already has it because it is brand new. Now the small ball sits right on top of there. Let's see, make sure it sticks. Yep, you can see it on the camera. And grease is always a good thing with these. So now you just put your pressure adjustment dial back together, just like so. Okay, moving on. So now okay, so we got one O-ring left, and that's going to be for the foot valve. So I'm going to pop this old O-ring off. As much as it wants to fight me, it's going to come off. Come on now, you're just an O-ring. Get out of there. That's it. It's got a tiny lip on there that helps keep that O-ring on, keep it seated. So, just gonna put the new O-ring on, pop it around that lip. It's ready to go. Okay, now your foot valve housing goes here. This drops straight down inside until it sticks out the other end. Now you just got to put your cotter pin on. So stick your cotter pin on there. Bada boom. Bend one of those arms around so it can't come out. That's it for that. Now, Teflon tape, highly advised. I'm gonna screw this foot valve back on to the tube. You're gonna use your pipe wrench. You're gonna crank it. I'm not gonna crank it because it's gotta come back apart. Get lubricated, Teflon tape, all that good stuff. Okay, now we would normally pack grease, just a little fingerful down in the hole where the plunger goes. And I would coat the plunger with thin layer of grease. Slide that stop on. And then reassemble, make sure there's no drag, nothing like that. And that's it. sounds super easy with the brand new pump head. It is. Some of the older beat up ones, they take a little tender love and care to get them apart and get them back together. Anyhow, hope this video helps you rebuild your pump. If you got any questions, feel free to message me or email me. Have a good one.